All right. So let's I guess we're going to update this. Okay, let's make sure everything is working. So I just finished the script information here for Njord Menu. So everyone wanted to have the Valheim Plus. Okay, that's good. This will be where we log in. We're logged in. Here's where the game folder will be. Got it. And here is the window client. Okay, that's when you download to get the plugins. All right. Now, let's go. All right, hey guys, what's up? Let's zero bandwidth here. So there's been a lot of comments in the Discord and people asking. I know with Valheim Ashlands just coming out, a lot of folks are trying to play it. And I say just coming out, it was almost 12 days ago. So let's install the Njord menu, see what is working and what is not working. Everything is currently working, but people want to play with mods. So I'm going to go through this. It's been a while since I made a video for this. I've been super busy and have had zero time to do fun coding projects. So I had some time this morning. I went through the code, I updated everything, and now I am going to install Valheim server so people can play on it, and then I am also going to install Valheim Plus and then show how to configure that so you can play with mods. So yeah, without wasting any more time, let's get to this video. All right, so here is the repo. A lot of you are already familiar with this. I'm going to be pushing these updates very soon, so you won't have to worry about, is this working, does it not work? But yeah, here's the Njord menu. Come to the GitHub here, pull it down, install it onto your server, Linux server of choice, and you're good to go. So let's see if it all works. So we're going to come down here to the instructions. We are going to, we don't need this. I'm using DigitalOcean here for this install. And here's the code. We're going to start here. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to run this code. For those that don't know, sudo app update and install git. And NetTools is just a command to install some of the files that you may or may not have. Most people have them if you're using a Ubuntu distro, which is the distro that I'm currently using as well. But the first thing I always like to do is upgrade the operating system. Now, this particular operating system is Ubuntu. I just said that. And let's change the font size just to make this a little bit bigger. Maybe like 14. Apply. All right, that's a little bit better. All right, so I'm just updating and upgrading some of these packages. Let's just do this. It'll go through. It'll take a few moments. And yeah, super excited that everyone's still utilizing the script. I wrote it in Notepad one day and just posted it on GitHub, and it's still running. All right, so what I did here is I updated all of my dependencies, packages, whatever the case may be, just for the base load of Ubuntu. Nothing else, nothing more. So now I am going to do this. I'm going to change directory into OPC. So that's just cd/opt. And I am going to download the Njord menu. So from here, we're just going to paste git clone. It's going to pull down the script. If you do a long list here, you can see dedicated Valheim server script. So now we're going to go into here. We're going to take a look. There's some files in here that you'll see. The main thing that you really care about is the lang folder where additional languages are in there, and then the Njord menu itself. So after you do your git clone, then you're going to change into the directory for the Valheim server script. Boom. Then you're going to change permissions. You're going to chmod plus X, which means to give this file execute permissions. So we're going to do that. I don't have to do sudo, but I'm doing it anyways. I'm already in as root, so you really don't need this, but some folks might be installing this on a distro they already have. And then once we have that, we can see here, this is white. And if I do another long list, it'll be green with a little asterisk here. That means it actually has execute permissions. As you can see, X, X, and X. So I am actually going to overwrite this file with all of the new code that I finished this morning. Paste it in here. Save it. And now I'm going to run it. Might as well just do sudo real quick. All right, so when you first run the menu system, you're going to have some errors up here. Don't worry about that. That's mainly because this is a brand new install. So it's looking for these folders and other items that aren't even created yet. So that's okay. So first thing we want to do is go to the steps, select option 3. We're going to install a Valheim server or add another Valheim instance. In our case, we are installing a new Valheim server. So right here you can see install Valheim server or add another Valheim instance. So we're going to use option 3. And it's going to ask, do you want to do a fresh install, a reinstall, or set up another Valheim server? We added this in here because some folks want to play with the vanilla load and some folks want to have a modded load. So you can run multiple instances of Valheim on one server if you have enough resources. So we're going to use option 1. Option 1 is just for a fresh restall. This is going to go through. And basically everything that it's doing in here is just checking, hey, is there any packages missing? Do we need to install any additional software to support Valheim server on Linux? And it just magically does what it needs to do. I made the code very readable. Additionally, when I push this code, there's going to be a new playground folder. And I want to cover that while this is installing because we got some time. There's two files in here. There's Njord and Njord Rebirth. Basically what I did is I left the original file before I added all the fancy whatever the case you might need, like the install mods or all the advanced items that I show on the menu. So I left this basic, and anyone can come in here and actually use it for any Linux server game that they have that they want to play. And all you would have to do is come in here and change some of these items here, like the game ID. Let's say like you wanted to play Minecraft or something. You just replace all this Valheim wording with Minecraft, and then change these to match up with the game ID. Those that know how to do that, you probably can go through this very, very quickly and design it however you want and add on to it for whatever reason. Additionally, I added the full version of the script without all the multi-language and everything else in here, so it's going to be both in here for everybody. All right, so it's done installing all the packages. Now we're actually getting to the initial setup. So right here for the initial setup on a blank server, it's going to ask you for a non-Steam account password. This is just going to create a Steam account locally on your Linux environment. It has nothing to do, you will never use it. You will never log in as this user. It's just the user that's going to be the manager of the Valheim game as it's running. So right here, you want to pick whatever password you want. We're just going to do 0 bandwidth, I guess. That's a super easy password. And public server name, 0 bandwidth testing server. This is going to be for what your server will look like inside the public listing. Here's your world name. This is just whatever world name you want to give it. Make it one word, make it two words, whatever you want. Or sorry, no spaces and no special characters like that. So we're just going to name it 0 bandwidth. Right here is, do you want to make your server public or do you want to host it on a LAN? And we're just going to say one. Let's make it public. And then this is going to be your password to actually access the server. So we're just going to say happy days. For this option is if you want to enable crossplay. So let's do that. Let's enable crossplay. We're going to use 1. And it's going to take all that information, build a configuration file, and then it will actually download Valheim from Steam, set up all the packages that it needs to, and then get your server as fast as possible up and running. And I'm just making a recording of this as I'm doing it live, just so people can come back and reference this, see what I did. Because sometimes there's questions like, hey, I have my server running and it's not working. There's so many things that it could be, but what I'm doing here is showing you from a fresh install that everything just works. And if you do run into issues, feel free to ask in the Discord channel. Awesome community there. They will be more than happy to help you get through some of the issues you might have. Some of the most common issues are folks that are hosting a Valheim server inside their house and trying to get people from outside their home to connect inside their home. Typically, there's a lot of firewall settings or router issues that you might need to do internally, such as doing a port forwarding to make sure that the port that you're hosting inside your house is open to the public. Now, obviously, there's a lot of security worries or other things like that. So unless you really know how to keep your stuff secure when people are coming from outside the world into your home to play on your game server, just do some reading on proper network hardening, configuration, security. If you're not really well read or practice in that particular field, then please get a hosting company, DigitalOcean, Google, whatever you want, and host it there. And this is just going through a bunch of random installs. So again, if you're just jumping into sections of this video, this is me installing Valheim with the new Njord menu that has updates for the new Valheim Plus. There was I guess Valheim Plus, the original developers stopped working on the project and a new person came in and started taking over the project and has kept it alive. So if you like to play Valheim with mods, this will work for you as well. So right now you can see that it just finished downloading the actual application for the Valheim server. You can see 896660 here is fully installed. This part of the script just goes through and sets permissions and makes sure everything's working. It's setting up services, and then boom, it's ready to go. So yeah, we just installed Valheim on a new Ubuntu server utilizing the Njord menu and did not see any issues. So we're going to hit 0 and go back to the main menu. When this reloads, you will see this initial error here. Additionally, you will also see that crossplay game code says no join code found. That is because it takes a moment. So I'm just going to exit out of the menu and go right back into the menu. And you can see that that error disappeared that was up here. And this still says crossplay game code, no join code found. Well, typically if you wait 5 minutes, it'll show up. but let me show you where that particular file is, or where it's checking for that. So inside your directory, you will not find anything related to Valheim in here. But if you go back to the root directory and then you go into the home directory, you will see you will have a Steam folder created. This is for the Steam user that we created at the beginning of this install. So when we go into the Steam users home directory, we can see there's a bunch of Valheim related information in here. So if you go into .local, yes, no, that's the wrong one, .config, you will see that there's a few folders in here. You got the Unity folder, the Iron Gate folder, and we're just going to change into these directories. We're going to also change into the Valheim directory, and here's where we come up with some items that are related to our install. So you can see zero bandwidth, which is the world name that we created earlier. And when I look here inside zero bandwidth, now I have the admin list, the permaban list, the Valheim server log, and the worlds log. What we want is the Valheim server log. So let's just take a look at this Valheim server log. So in here, you will have a log of everything that the Valheim game is doing for your particular world. So if you have multiple worlds, each world will have its own Valheim log. But inside here, don't worry about these errors here. These are errors because we're running the server on Linux. We don't really care about all this stuff, but it's good to go through these logs and see, hey, is there something wrong? Like, I do get questions, hey, my Valheim server didn't start. If you go through the logs, you will see maybe you have OOM, which means out of memory. You don't have enough RAM or resources to actually run the game. So make sure when you do run a Valheim game, I like to use at least 8 gigs of RAM. You can get away with 4 gigs of RAM, but once the world really starts getting big and you terraform a lot, then you're going to start running into issues. But as I'm going through here, I am looking for any errors, but these errors, again, we don't care about these errors. But as we start getting further down here, you can see that PlayFab Custom ID is actually creating a server. And then down here, or not a server, but a connection. And then down here, you can see PlayFab actually gave it an entity ID. Here is the server IP address for Valheim. Server 0 bandwidth begin playback. So this is where it creates and joins the network for PlayFab. And then it is going to give us a code somewhere down here. And I don't see the code. Don't see the code. Let me go and see if the code showed up. So what I did is I closed the file and came back in. And this is funny when I saw this. I don't know why. I don't think it's because it hasn't saved yet, but it will save. That's not what I want. Creating a playlab file, and then here you go. So I exit out the file. It takes a while. So it took maybe 5 minutes for the code to get generated, but you can see right here, session 0 bandwidth registered with this code. Cool. So we have a code, we have an IP, the server is ready to connect. So now if I actually go back to the menu, let's just say I waited 5-10 minutes for that code. It will actually pop up now inside the menu system. So now you can see right here, crossplay game code, boom, shows up. Just takes a little bit. So our server's up. We don't have mods installed. This is just a vanilla install. Now let's see if Valheim will actually load. This is the fun part where the game, hopefully it's not too loud in my ears. All right, Valheim Ashlands. I have my game code. I can come in and start game. I can collect whatever character I want. I'm going to click join code, and I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to add a server. So let's just type in the game code 403645. Add server, connect. And if everything worked, it should ask me for a password, which we used for Happy Days. We are going to connect, and we are now connected to the server. So that worked out. Default install, vanilla, everything's in there. Now, I don't know how fast I had this checking to see if there's people online. I think this checks every 5 minutes, but you'll have to refresh the menu and then it will give you a player count. But yeah, so Valheim works. Great. Let's leave this game. Now let's get to the fun part. This is where a lot of people been asking me to update this, so let's update it. Good news is, excuse me, I think I'm dying. Good news is I already updated the code. Now let's say you want to use Valheim Plus. So down here, I have an option inside the menu, inside the Njord menu. You can use 20 or 21. If you use Bepinex, you know how to use this. If you are trying to use Valheim Plus, this is the one that you want to do. So we're going to use option 20. And what this does, this loads Valheim Plus. You can tell because it's different colors and it says Valheim Plus up here. So first thing we want to do is install the mods. And we also know that Valheim Plus is disabled because it says mods are disabled. Additionally, you'll find the official Valheim Plus build right here. And it says no data because we have not installed it yet. So let's install it. I'm going to use option 1, which is install Valheim mods. What this does, it reaches out to the repo. It pulls down all the packages for Valheim Plus, and it places them within the operating system's folder directory so everything can work. Now that we installed it, now we have to enable it. So we're going to use option 2. We're going to enable this. And what this does is it's going to rewrite a lot of the Valheim configuration files, as well as the Valheim system services, so that when Valheim starts up on the server every time, it will load the correct files that it needs. So now you can see that this is enabled with Valheim Plus, and we are currently set up now to connect to the Valheim server utilizing Valheim Plus. And I believe if you go back to the main menu, you can see, I guess I didn't build anything in here, but maybe I should set something that says, you know, hey, Valheim Plus is enabled and active. Let's go back into the Valheim Plus menu. Here's where we're at. And now we want to use Valheim. So where is my link? GitHub. GR. So for Valheim Plus, this person here has been keeping Valheim Plus up to date in his own repo. And right here you can see there was an update 2 weeks ago. So you come here, you can look at all these options on how you can use mods and how to actually install it. So all the script did was actually come here, It checked for the latest install, or sorry, it checked for the latest release, and then it installs all the files that you need. But if you're using Windows, you need to do a couple steps, or wherever your game client is. You can't just play this and connect to the server and you have the mods. You have to also install the Valheim Plus files onto your computer wherever you're actually playing the game. So to do that, you come to releases, you look at the latest release, make sure the compatibility is good, and then you download the client file for your particular what? For your particular distro. Oh my goodness. So down here you can see these files right here for the Linux ones. And you click here to show all, and you will see the Windows ones. So from here you just click Windows Client, which I've already downloaded, which is this file here, windowsclient.zip. And once you have downloaded it, you need to go into your directory where Valheim is installed. For instance, mine is installed in this directory. To get that directory, you just come up here, right click, manage, and then browse local files, and it will just open that directory for you. So once you have your game directory identified and you have the Valheim Plus files downloaded, just take the files here, drag them over to the root directory, drop the files, and you're good to go. So now I'm going to launch Valheim, and you will see a different window pop up because these files are in place now. So now you get this file. You see BepInEx in here. It's doing its thing. I don't know much about it. I don't play much, but it says also crossplay is not a platform. I don't know. I haven't read these things in a long time. But now when you load Valheim, you can see Valheim Plus. Way different. And we just installed it on our server here. So let's try and connect. So we're going to start game, start. We're going to join game, and I could just double click this. I should be able to connect. You might not be able to use the game code, so if you have Valheim Plus, try and use the IP address and then the port. And our password was happy days. And this window here is very important. You can see like what you're doing, what's going on with the mods, is stuff working, is stuff not working, is there any errors? And it looks like we are now connected. So now we're playing with mods with the Njord Menu with Ashlands. So that was it. Just a quick, hey, this is how you do it. I'm going to push this code to the repo so everyone has it. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask us in Discord. Have a great day.